Hello there and welcome to the news on NTA International. I'm Charles Alpha. My sign language interpreter is Courage Ogeria here. But first, a quick look at some of our top stories. President Bola Tinubu inaugurates roads in Federal Capital Territory, expresses hope Nigeria will record more success under his administration. Anger and anguish as death toll continues to rise from a massive landslide in remote highland community in Papua New Guinea. Plus, Senate passes National Anthem Bill 2024 and makes provision to revert to old anthem, Nigeria, we hail thee. All right, President Bola Tinubu is expressing hope that Nigeria will record more successes under his administration with people's interests at the core of his priorities. The president said this as he inaugurated the Southern Parkway in Abuja, just completed under his administration. Aisha Obali reports.
As part of promise made by the present administration under the Renewed Hope Initiative, among others, is to focus on infrastructure, and this is coming to reality as the president starts the commissioning of projects in the FCT. The Southern Parkway, a project awarded in 2010 and re-awarded in 2012 respectively, and 13 years after, has finally been delivered. While commissioning the road, President Bola Tinubu reaffirms the unwavering commitment of his administration in delivering on all promises made to Nigerians. As he says, the road will ease traffic for FCT residents and visitors.
The changes you made to the FCT, structure and administrative, is yielding results and elevating the hearts of many Nigerians. Thank you very much.
FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, who named the road after the president, promises that the ministry will continue to ensure that the Federal Capital Territory experiences tremendous development.
The scope of work made about 2 main carriageways of 4 lanes each and 2 service carriageways of 2 lanes each, making a total of 12 lanes. It also includes the construction of 4 number interchanges, a total of 8 number bridges in addition to the provision of associated underground engineering infrastructure facilities. I'm happy to further inform Your Excellency that the project is now completed in line with the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President.
Minister of State Dr. Maria Mahmoud, in her remarks, appreciated the support of all stakeholders in making the dream a reality.
This project represents a significant milestone in our journey towards progress and development as an administration. Therefore, I would also like to express our sincere appreciation to Mr. Project, the Honorable Minister of FCT Nyesom Wike, and other cabinet members who stood by us to succeed in this audacious journey.
The Southern Parkway would start from the Christian Center S8 and S9 to the Ring Road 1 is connected to major areas, as this alternative road, according to stakeholders, will reduce traffic and vehicular movement within the city center. In Abuja, Aisha Obali, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu today received former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Tony Blair. The meeting at the State House this Tuesday afternoon was held behind closed doors, details of which is yet to be known. State House correspondent Musbah Den Wahab reports that this is the second time the former Prime Minister would be visiting President Tinubu. Mr. Blair had visited the Nigerian leader before his inauguration, then as President-elect, at the Defense House. And still on his one-year celebration, President Bola Tinubu will not give a broadcast of the nation on Wednesday to celebrate his first anniversary as the leader of Nigeria. Instead, the president will address a joint session of the National Assembly, which has lined up a program to commemorate 25 years of the nation's democratic journey at both the executive and legislative levels. President Tinubu's speech will dwell on the achievements of his administration and Nigeria's democracy since the military ceded power in 1999. Former Senate President Senator David Mark, former Speaker of the House of Representatives, and now President Tinubu's Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, are all lined up to address the Parliament. Also lined up to speak is the former military ruler, General Absalami Abubakar, who handed over power to civilian administration in 1999. At the end of the speeches, President Tinubu will commission the National Assembly Library and Resource Center, now to be known as Bola Ahmed Tinubu Building. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Job Creation and MSMEs, Temitola Adekunle Johnson, has reaffirmed the commitment of the Tinubu's administration to a single-digit interest rate for MSMEs to encourage local investment. He stated this at the Nigeria Diaspora Direct Investment Summit in London, and our correspondent, Luale Hamzat, reports.
The just concluded Nigeria Diaspora Direct Investment Summit, NTAi, held in London, provided a platform for the convergence of ideas and appraisal of investment opportunities in Nigeria.
If you can manufacture a good at $50 a ton in China, and it costs $75 a ton to manufacture in Nigeria, the consumer is going to go for the Chinese imports.
When you put policies that work and you have subsequent governments, Singapore, Indonesia did the same thing. So for you, when you invest that plenty money in Nigeria and bring those Nigerian products, those purses and shoes, am I going to wear them here? Will I not say, this is made in Nigeria, let me go and buy Mark and Spencer?
The need to provide an enabling environment and expand the funding opportunities for investors and entrepreneurs was emphasized.
But the current President Tinubu's regime, President Tinubu's government, is trying to ensure a single-digit interest rate for SMEs in Nigeria. We started by having a partnership with Access Bank, who now gives facilities for about 15%. There's the Bank of Industry, who is giving for 9%. But what we want to do, what President Tinubu and this administration wants to do, is to make that a norm, a regular in Nigeria, where small businesses collect facilities at consistent single-digit. So this will help small businesses in Nigeria, and it will also motivate people in diaspora who have businesses or who want to run businesses to go to Nigeria and set up businesses.
Well, as part of our discussions today, we had a panel on job creation and support for MSMEs in Nigeria. Yes. And we touched on the Nollywood creative industries, the fashion industries. Those are the areas that we're now beginning to work. We're going to be working with the federal government on how to support the youths of Nigeria to get into all of these sectors and find jobs.
We have always supported this group in ensuring that NTAi holds timely and attracts the right people that will help achieve the desired and deserved goals. And as you can see, this year's event, it has come with its own positives.
From London, Olawale Hamzat, NTA News.
And our former President Muhammadu Buhari extends his best wishes to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the completion of his first year in office. The former president appealed to all citizens to continue to strengthen the thread of national unity and goodwill. He appealed to citizens to give their blessings and support to the Tinubu administration so that it can succeed in its effort to build a prosperous Nigeria. President Buhari expressed his wish for a successful tenure in office by the Tinubu administration. Now, threats to Nigeria's economic growth is one out of many issues Nigeria has been contending with. In the effort to ensure sustainability and a resilient economy, the past 1 year, foreign policies of the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs have impacted positively by attracting more foreign support and diplomatic engagements. Garba Natala reports that The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, gave assurances while speaking during the ongoing ministerial sectorial briefing marking 1 year of President Tinubu's administration in the office. He, however, lamented some setbacks hindering the progress made in providing consular and visa services.
We met a situation where foreign affairs was not being funded the way it should be. And then secondly, these sort of loopholes that were exploited by the likes of Binance. So it's a money problem. There's no point sending out ambassadors if you don't have the funds for them to even travel to go there. And then, of course, to run the missions effectively and efficaciously, you need funding. So that is it. But I assure you, we're working on it. Mr. President is very aware of it, and it will be done in due course.
Analyzing progress made so far, the Foreign Affairs Minister notes that the ministry has achieved so much in 1 year, considering the existing efforts made in diplomacy.
Push in 2 senior people into the higher echelons of the African Continental Free Trade Area to attract foreign direct investment, of course. Transfer of technology is another one. With diaspora, we're looking at improving, of course, consular services. We've managed to achieve quite a bit there. But you have to also understand that we are the landlords, foreign affairs, but you have several ministries and agencies represented within an embassy. But anything that goes wrong is foreign affairs that gets blamed. So, you know, we're still working with the other MDAs to achieve as much as we can.
In other news now, death toll continues to rise from a massive landslide that buried a remote highland community in Papua New Guinea's early hours of May 2024. Uche Ugochukwu reports that more than 2,000 people are feared buried as a United Nations agency warned it is very unlikely more survivors of the landslide will be found.
Top provincial officials said thousands of people living near the site of Papua New Guinea landslide have been advised to evacuate because of the risk of further slips. Since the incident, locals have been heaving 3 meters deep chunked up earth, uprooted trees and cast site boulders in search of loved ones, often using little more than their hands and digging sticks. Full-scale rescue and relief efforts have been severely hampered by the site's remote location, heavy rainfall, nearby tribal violence and the landslide, severing the only road link to the outside world. Early on Tuesday, Anga Provincial Administrator Sandy Saka warned clumps of limestone, dirt and rock were still shearing off the side of Mount Mongalo. Shaka said authorities were trying to coordinate a mass evacuation from 2 districts that had a total population of about 7,900 people. 8 agencies have estimated more than 1,000 people have already been displaced by the catastrophe. But many residents have refused to leave at-risk areas because they were holding out hope of finding friends and family. Elsewhere, torrential rains in the wake of a powerful cyclone caused the collapse of a quarry in India's Mizoram state, killing 12 people according to government officials. Rescue efforts in the quarry were being hampered by heavy rains. Several highways and key roads were disrupted by landslides across Mizoram and other northeastern states on Tuesday. Meanwhile, Cyclone Remal, which made landfalls in low-lying Bangladesh and neighboring India on Sunday evening, leaves thousands of destroyed makeshift houses on Bangladesh coast, leaving at least 38 people dead and thousands without shelters. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
You're still watching the news on NTA International. We will have more coming your way right after the break. Please stay with us. Before staying with us, just so you know that coming up at 8 p.m. is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu documentary at 1, and one of it is oil subsidy, the death of parasitic monster, and it will air from 8 to 8:30 p.m. And the second is renewed hope, journey to food security, and that one will air from 8:30 to 9 p.m. Now, ECOWAS has launched a human security and resilience assessment for member countries. The study, which is commencing with Nigeria, is to help the regional bloc to tailor its policy interventions appropriately using evidence-based criteria. Calvin Ehunaya reports.
The last 10 years has seen West Africa become a theater of conflicts and political instability, compounded by the impact of climate change, resulting in heightened vulnerabilities, especially among the poor in member countries. This study for Nigeria, a product of the ECOWAS Directorate of Early Warnings and Office of Strategic Preparedness and Resilience, is the first in the sub-region and will serve as a model for other countries.
We want to achieve an understanding of the complex issues that underlie conflict and instability within Nigeria. We want to map the resilience factors that can help us become better at combating those issues that engender conflict and strife. And above all, we want to be able to create empirical data that can be used to inform policy interventions by the government.
Researchers from across member states are to produce an evidence-based document to be adopted by the regional bloc in addressing issues of poverty and underdevelopment, especially in rural communities across West Africa. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
Belgium on Tuesday committed to delivering 30 F-16 fighter jets by 2028 to help Kyiv battle Russia's invasion. Uchegwechuk reports that both countries signed a security pact to this effect at the start of the visit by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
The pledge was signed by Zelensky and Belgian Prime Minister Alexander De Croo, the latest in a string of similar Ukrainian accords with Western allies.
Our aim is to be able to provide first aircraft before the end of this year, 2024.
The bilateral security agreement, Zelensky said, includes at least 977 million euros in Belgian military aid to Ukraine this year, in addition to a commitment of support over the next 10 years. The Ukrainian leader entered Brussels from Spain late Monday as part of a tour to several European countries in a bid to rally support for Kyiv. He held a press conference with De Croo and visited a military air base in the Belgian capital, where he met instructors helping to train Ukrainian pilots to fly F-16s. Belgium had previously pledged to supply F-16 aircraft to Kyiv as part of a broader initiative by European allies. Brussels says it has committed 1.2 billion euros to providing military support for Ukraine since Russia's invasion in 2022. Spain, a day earlier, pledged 1 billion euros in military aid as Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez and Zelensky signed their own security deal in Madrid. Zelensky's latest tour comes as Ukraine is struggling to hold back a Russian ground offensive in the Kharkiv region, where Moscow recently has made its largest territorial gains in 18 months. The Ukrainian leader is also trying to gather up support for a peace conference due to hold in Switzerland next month, as Kyiv has rejected any push to invite Russia. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
And in Nigeria, Senate has passed the National Anthem Bill 2024, which makes provisions to revert to the old anthem, Nigeria, We Hail Thee. This follows consideration and adoption of the report of the Joint Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters and the Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs. Lawmakers are of the opinion that the old anthem, the official anthem of Nigeria at independence in 1960, has contextual connotation and relevance to the current state of the nation.
Those against say nay. The ayes have it. A bill for an act to provide for the national anthem of Nigeria and for matters related thereto 2024. Third, reading taken and passed.
When assented to, it replaces the current anthem, Arise, O Compatriots, which came into effect in 1978. Sadiq Wanka, special advisor to the president on power infrastructure, has reiterated that Nigeria's energy transition is underpinned by rapid scale-up of fossil fuel production, especially natural gas, which serves as transition fuel. It says the misconception that the country will jettison fossil fuels must be replaced with a gradual increase in renewables while harnessing the other cleaner resources from crude oil. He made this known at a symposium on a just energy transition in Abuja.
And around liberalizing the sector and having more state participation is one that continues in a more seamless and orderly fashion, so that it gives comfort to the investors that to come in and do the investment.
Transition is not just about changing sources of energy. It's going to affect businesses. There's going to be loss of jobs. There are going to be dynamic changes in the dynamics of the economy. And it is more so in an economy like Nigeria's, which is monocultural, which is oil dependent.
And so the focus is not so much on decarbonization for us, but on the justice question, the climate justice question. So at the community level, and in many of our communities, people are still going to be dealing with the environmental degradation of exploitation.
It is on the same page with other key players who acknowledge that Nigeria and Africa, who are the least emitters, must not bear the brunt of the climate crisis occasioned by the highest emitters. While interrogating the role of the higher emitters, the symposium also provided suggestions helping government navigate the issues at stake for just energy transition across the value chains. Secretary to the government of the Federation, George Akume, wants new Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Sheikh Mohammed, to build on the successes of his predecessors to ensure safety and sanity on Nigerian roads. Oyemi Ajayi reports that this was during the decoration ceremony of the 3rd Corps Marshal to rise through the ranks and the 8th Corps Marshal in the role.
The clear target of the United Nations Decade of Action for Road Safety is to minimize road traffic crashes and injuries by at least 50% by 2030. This has been one target successive Corps Marshals of the Federal Road Safety Corps vigorously pursued with much success, but then the end is not yet in sight. For instance, night driving, overspeeding, wrong driving, more commonly known in Nigeria as one-way, driving under the influence of alcohol, overloading aside trailers conveying passengers with animals and goods are still some prevailing pointers to continuous causes of road traffic crashes. Now, with the emergence of Sheikh Mohammed, many say it is time to consider the fresh approach in order to achieve better results. Growing through the ranks up to the rank of the Assistant Corps Marshal and now the Corps Marshal, Sheikh Mohammed must bring his wealth of experience to bear towards ensuring sanity on the highways.
This new assignment, which is sensitive and very, very important. I urge you to do your best for the Corps and for the respect of the sanctity of human life in our dear country.
Just as the Secretary to the Government of the Federation has said, the expectations of Nigerians still remains better road management, with officers on the roads being more active, leading to less crashes. It is also expected that there will be improved enlightenment of road users and synergy between other road management stakeholders. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Vice President Kashim Shettima led other eminent Nigerians to the funeral of the late former chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ibrahim Lamode, at the National Mosque, Abuja. He was joined at the burial by some governors, National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Vice President Shettima, who offered prayers for the departed soul, emphasized the principles of justice, integrity, and accountability that guided Lamode's life. And this is where we end the news. Many thanks for being part of it. I am Charles Alpha Courage Ogeriahi has been interpreting for us.